Okay, welcome to the deep dive. We've got some really potent source material shared with us today,
We really do. It focuses on the astrological energies and a quite beautiful symbolic story.
centered around the full moon in Sagittarius, happening on June 11th, 2025.
And both pieces, the astrology update and the story, come from Tarot by High C. They weave together nicely.
Absolutely. So our goal here is to, unpack the key insights. What are these sources telling us is important about navigating freedom, truth, exploration?
And really actualizing potential on this specific day.
Exactly. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the main event, obviously, is that full moon in Sagittarius. And the core message, it feels like, is a pretty clear directive. Go the extra mile.
Go the extra mile,
Yeah.
like that. It suggests pushing beyond the usual comfort zones, right?
Totally. The sources really emphasize this is a time not to play it safe, not to stay hemmed in by perceived limits. This sag energy is presented as, well, fuel.
Fuel to stride further, as they put it.
Precisely, further than maybe you thought possible. It's all about embracing freedom, seeking your truth, and really leaning into exploration.
So if you tap into that, what kind of potential does it unlock, according to the material?
They talk about opening up whole new levels. Creativity, courage, a stronger connection to your personal truth, clearer vision.
And confident action.
Yes, and confident action. It's framed as this powerful energy for actualizing dreams, turning those big ideas into something real.
That sounds amazing, almost boundless. But Sagittarius energy can sometimes be a bit scattered or, well, impulsive. Does the source mention needing some flexibility?
Oh, for sure, definitely. While it's about breaking barriers, there's also a strong call to be flexible, adaptable, to embrace the change that comes with that expansion.
So it's not just wild abandon.
No, the focus isn't chaotic freedom. It's more about aspiration that's rooted in principles and a real drive for improvement.
Okay. And something that really stood out to me in the sources was how this full moon acts like a spotlight.
Mm.
What do they say it shines on?
Yeah, this part's key. They highlight that the full moon's light reveals exactly what's been blocking your path, anything clouding your direction, maybe diluting your purpose.
Draining energy, distracting your spirit, that kind of thing.
All of that. It just brings things into really sharp focus.
And when things are clear, new options appear. Is that the idea?
Yes, exactly that. Pathways forward become visible. The source talks about showing us new doors, opportunities we might have missed before, or maybe even doors we thought were completely impossible to open.
Which connects directly to that really bold statement in the sources. We don't need permission.
Loud and clear, that's a core message. This energy says, fundamentally, you don't need anyone else's okay, not even from your old self, your old limits, to live passionately.
Or to speak your truth.
Or to speak your truth, absolutely. And crucially, to walk away from what isn't serving you anymore, to seek something new.
Wow. Stop filtering truth through fear of rejection. That's quite direct. It frames it as a really critical choice, too.
It does. The sources are very clear here. The call is to choose the road aligned with your soul, not the road your ego wants you to take for safety or approval.
Yeah.
That distinction is vital.
But, any energy this strong usually have potential downsides, right?
Mm.
The sources do offer some warnings.
They absolutely do. They point out that fine line between real liberation and just, well, avoidance, running away from things.
Okay, so what are the specific pitfalls mentioned?
We're warned about self-absorption, maybe letting it become egotism or pride. Impulsiveness is in there, a lack of emotional restraint.
Overcommitment, too, I think.
Yes, overcommitment, maybe even emotional codependency fueled by this sort of restless desire for freedom or just leaping without really looking. Discernment is needed.
So it's potent fuel, yes, but needs conscious direction. Got it. Now, the sources also mention an energy shift later in the day.
Right. Later tonight, the moon moves into Capricorn. So think of Sagittarius as the big vision, pointing out those new possibilities.
And Capricorn brings.
Capricorn brings the structure, the discipline, the integrity, the focus on long-term goals. It's the grounding force that helps you actually build something from those Sagittarian dreams instead of just having them flash by.
Turning vision into reality. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And there was another aspect mentioned, Mercury sextile Venus. How does that fit in?
That's a really nice supporting aspect. It's said to ease conversations and relationships. So if this big sag energy is pushing you to say, speak a new truth or discuss walking through one of those new doors.
This aspect helps things go more smoothly.
Potentially, yes. It suggests communication and maybe negotiations could flow more easily. The emphasis is on compassionate honesty.
Compassionate honesty, I like that phrase.
Yeah, making decisions and talking based on your core values, not letting fear run the show. It supports expressing affection, creativity, using diplomacy. It kind of bridges the bold truth with sensitive delivery.
Okay, so we have this really rich astrological picture. Big vision, seeing clearly, needing courage for the soul's path, but also being careful, grounding it practically, and communicating well. Now let's turn to the story provided alongside this, the MOONROAD pilgrimage. It feels like such a perfect symbolic mirror for these themes.
It really does. It's set in this village, Varel, and under the Sagittarius full moon, this old road supposedly reappears.
A mythical road.
Yeah, a path from legends whispered about. It's said to stir stagnant hearts towards a wild, untamed freedom. Immediately connects to that core sag impulse, right?
Totally. And the character Arielle, she embodies that feeling at the start, that deep restlessness.
Life feeling too narrow, voice too careful, heart tethered to expectations. It perfectly captures what the astrology says the full moon eliminates those things holding us back.
Her starting point is the perfect setup. And the MOONROAD itself, the description is beautiful. Not stone, but
Glimmering strands of stardust and memory winding through old trees, leading to places unseen. It's the symbolic pathway that opens up when you see the truth.
and along this path, these doors appear.
They do, representing different choices, different potential journeys. The sources give examples: a crumbling doorway, maybe facing decay, a shimmering water portal, emotions perhaps, a path of firelight, passion.
Some familiar, some strange. A real mix.
Yeah, and the moon's message to Arielle right then.
It was described as a pull, wasn't it? A magnetic insistence.
Exactly, telling her that what she truly wanted lay beyond certainty, beyond safety. And the source gives that direct quote, the core message, echoing the astrology perfectly. Choose the road that aligns with your soul, not your fear.
And it wasn't just Arielle who was drawn. We see other villagers pulled by their own quiet desperations.
Right. Tomlin, afraid of loving. Marin, stuck in people-pleasing. Elder Varric, walled off by pride. It shows how this energy calls differently to each person based on their specific blocks, the things the moon is lighting up for them.
And they react differently, too.
Yes, the story shows that. Some just turn away, too scared. Others try a door but then stumble back out, maybe not ready to face what's inside.
Confronting those truths the astrology talked about.
Probably. But Arielle, she makes a conscious choice.
She does. Practical, tighten the leather straps of her worn boots. But her choice of door is deeply symbolic.
Made of living wood, etched with stars. Not the easiest looking one maybe, but the one that felt alive, connected. Her actively choosing the soul's path over the ego's comfort.
And inside that door, what did she find?
Visions, the story says. She faced old lovers and dead hopes, ambitions she'd traded for safety, words she'd swallowed. It wasn't easy.
No, it sounds intense. Wept, laughed, screamed.
Exactly. The process of actually confronting and releasing the stuff the full moon reveals, the blockages.
But that difficult process led to a breakthrough, a vision.
A really transformative one. She saw the self she might yet become, and the description, fierce, untethered voice, clear as storm wind.
Powerful imagery.
And the source points out, importantly, this future self wasn't perfect or fearless, but she was someone who consistently chose the roads that fed her spirit, not her ego. That was the key difference.
And when she came back to the clearing, the MOONROAD was gone.
Physically gone, yes, but the knowing remained. The real change was internal, catalyzed by the journey.
And that internal shift then started showing up externally.
Precisely. The story says in the following days, new doors, real opportunities started appearing. A chance meeting, an unexpected letter, a sudden urge to leave her village.
But she now had the wisdom to choose.
Exactly. The wisdom gained on the MOONROAD. She could now discern which of these real-world doors to step through and which weren't truly aligned.
Which leads us right to the story's main lesson.
It's profound, really. The point wasn't just to take every opportunity that flashes up once you see clearly. It was learning to discern which opened to the life your soul came here to claim.
And the story ends with that line that really resonates.
The moon does not ask for your permission to shine. Neither should you.
Yeah, just sums it all up.
The perfect mic drop for the story, echoing that core astrological message about living your truth without waiting for approval.
So pulling it all together, the MOONROAD story feels like such a vivid, almost perfect allegory for the astrology described for June 11th.
It absolutely is. Ariel's journey is the full moon's call to truth and freedom. The mystical road, the doors, they're symbols for the pathways forward. The new doors, the astrology says, get revealed.
And her struggle, the moon's message. It's a direct narrative of choosing soul over fear, that phrase popping up in both sources.
Exactly. And seeing the other villagers react differently just underlines that this isn't passive. It requires conscious choice, courage to face what the light shows you.
It makes the cosmic energy feel very human, very relatable. Fear, feeling stuck, finding courage, changing.
Transformation.
Okay, so let's bring this back home. For you, listening right now, what can you take from this deep dive into the Sagittarius full moon and the moon road?
Well, first, maybe consider what parts of your own life feel too narrow right now, or tethered, like Arielle felt. This full moonlight might be shining right on those areas for you.
And thinking about that strong message, where might you be filtering your own truth, your potential, through fear? Fear of rejection, fear of expectation. This energy is a prompt to look at that honestly.
And based on the call from the astrology, the symbolism in the story, reflect on choices you might be facing or that might pop up soon. Which ones truly feel aligned with your soul deep down, and which feel more driven by old ego fears or limitations?
Pay attention in the next few days. Notice if any unexpected new doors or opportunities appear. And just as important, try to sense which ones really resonate with that deeper knowing, that life your soul wants to claim.
And remember that Mercury sextile Venus aspect. If there are conversations needed, maybe difficult ones, tied to stepping through a soul-aligned door, perhaps approaching them with that compassionate honesty could really help, focusing on values, connection.
Right. And as the moon shifts into Capricorn later tonight, think about how you can take any clarity or inspiration from this expansive Sag energy and, ground it. What practical steps can anchor the vision? How can discipline help turn it into reality?
Because the key insight, really, from both sources isn't about frantically grabbing every chance, but cultivating that inner wisdom, the discernment to know which doors genuinely lead you towards the life you came here for.
So this deep dive into the Sagittarius full moon on June 11th, 2025, using these Tarot by High Seas sources, really paints a picture of a potent time. A time for big vision, truth-seeking, bold, soul-aligned action.
But beautifully balanced, yeah. Balanced by the need for discernment, recognizing the pitfalls, and then that crucial grounding energy to make it real. The MOONROAD story is just such a powerful metaphor for that whole journey, internal and external.
Absolutely. So to leave you with a final thought, building directly on that line, the moon does not ask for your permission to shine. Neither should you.
Consider this. What aspect of your own unique, authentic self might you be holding back? Maybe unconsciously waiting for permission from yourself, from others that you actually don't need. What would it look like just leaning into this energy to simply allow yourself to shine?